Okay, so we can start. A few attendees. Welcome to our Student Design Competition Orientation webinar. We have a small audience today. It's mostly the team members that are participating this year. And I will, once we get to the moment where you can ask questions, you can either use the Q&A box on your Zoom toolbar or the chat feature, or we can also, if you raise your hand, we can allow you to talk and we can unmute your microphone. I think because we have a small audience, unmuting your microphone will be fine and you'll be able to speak and ask the panelists any specific questions. So let's get started. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is exciting. Trying to do this, especially in the middle of the pandemic, but we did have a successful one last year, and we expect to do so again. My name is Jim Clark. I'm a former president of the Water Environment Federation, and actually had a lot to do with setting this up from a global perspective. And for those of you that are not familiar with WEFTEC, it is a huge event, the largest of its kind, and offers a lot of different things for water quality professionals in terms of education and training and networking and a variety of other things. And especially for students and young professionals, it's a great opportunity to get to meet people and to see everything that's going on in the industry. WEF is a not-for-profit organization, over 30,000 members, and there are member associations throughout the world. And California Water Environment Association is one of those member associations, having over 10,000 members that work in the same general water space. CWEA is in fact the largest member association in WEF. So it's really a great opportunity for CWEA to sponsor teams to attend this student design competition. Go ahead, Megan. The design competition was designed to promote real-world design experience for students and eventually to allow students to have a good opportunity to try to meet with their peers and with professionals in the industry to help promote your interest and also skills that will be very valuable as you enter the professional world. Challenges of individuals or teams within WEF to demonstrate, to evaluate alternatives, develop a comprehensive design, and present a solution that meets the requirements of a problem statement. Go ahead. There are two different competitions, wastewater design competition and the water environment design competition. And what we found early on, we just had a single competition, and we found that there were a number of different people. It was hard to judge people doing design work and people doing environmental work. So the decision was made to break it up into two categories. The other issue that happened was this became so popular that there wasn't enough time in the day when this is held at WEFTEC to be able to accommodate as many people that wanted to participate, as many teams that were involved, as many schools that were involved. So by breaking it up, that basically allowed us to double the number of entrants that we could have, and also gave us a better way to score the two different types of competitions. So the wastewater design competition was basically to do a traditional wastewater treatment project, whether it was a collection system or a treatment plant, that type of thing. Even going into the area of residuals, such as biosolids or something like that. So it's basically based on design. The environmental design competition is looking more towards the softer side of what we do. Stormwater management, for example, green infrastructure, wetlands construction, distributed treatment systems. One team, and it was a winning team from a number of years ago, actually did a habitat for manatees in Florida and came up with some ideas to help improve the manatee population. It was really quite an amazing project that they did. So the sky's the limit on what you're able to do. And we're, again, very excited to be able to have this operate, whether we do it on a virtual basis or on an in-person basis. And there will be 2 venues for the design competition at WEFTEC this year. And again, we kind of flew by the seat of our pants a little bit last year because of the pandemic. Generally, it wasn't an in-person competition in the host city. This year's competition, or this year's WEFTEC, will be in Chicago. And the managers of the event have already decided that they will have a virtual competition and an in-person competition. So on the virtual side, there isn't a limit to the number that can participate, and they're still deciding on what awards they will give out for the virtual competition. The in-person competition that'll be in Chicago, they will see how many teams apply for participation. They may have to limit it again to 1 per member association. We'll have to see how that works. And there will be a cash prize for first place. And CWEA will send a second team to WEF to view the competition if we in fact have 2 winners. And I think maybe Debbie will talk more about that later. But the bottom line is that you must participate in the virtual competition to compete in the in-person competition in Chicago. So we've got a lot of ways that you can participate, a lot of good ideas. You've got a lot of good mentors here in California that have been through this a few times. And so we're really excited to have you on board.
Thanks, Jim. So my name is Debbie, and I'm the current chair of the Student Design Competition. And like Jim, I'm just really excited that we are able to continue to have this in this virtual space. CWEA is holding, our competition is entirely virtual. And we are holding the competition to cover both wastewater and water environmental. Now, it turns out that in this particular competition, we have 2 teams in one group, that is to say 2 wastewater teams and 1 water environment team. And generally speaking, if we had several of each category, we would be able to choose. But what we have decided to do as a committee is just evaluate the teams just based on their, like their superior performance. And then we will make the decision on whether or not we will send, which teams we will send. So we just want to make sure that everybody feels like the playing field is level. And we are providing financial support to assist the selected teams to attend the competition in Chicago in October. So the scope of the project should be a complete engineering project, just like, well, for many of you, this actually may be your capstone project. And we expect you to work with little assistance, although certainly mentors are certainly acceptable. And we would like you to work together as a team. And so teams can be as small as 2, and we've seen them as large as 8 or 10. But whatever the size of your team, only 4 will be able to actually present at the competition in WEFTEC. You may choose whatever resources you'd like and make sure you use the appropriate citations. You are expected to perform your own calculations. And again, this is not a literature review. It should be a design project. Next, thanks. So what you'll do is you will submit a design report. We'll look at the schedule in the next couple of slides, and then there'll be an oral presentation. The oral presentation will actually require a PowerPoint. So it's not actually written here, but you'll do a design report and then a PowerPoint presentation to accompany your oral presentation. And then both of them will be subject to question and answer after the review period. We have an excellent panel of judges coordinated by Brian Peck. Be a student member. I checked again this morning. It's still $20. It's been $20 for a long time. It's a great deal to be a member of CWEA/WEF. And we understand that between now and October, some of you may graduate. And so just so you know, the requirement is that you have to have been a registered student within the last 12 months to participate. And again, as I said before, a maximum of 4 team members will be allowed to present. I don't know that we have actually limited the number of people who present at our virtual our virtual competition. And then again, to reiterate, the judges will decide based on the presentations exactly who we will send to WEFTEC. Next. So here's the schedule. Today's the 17th. You've already submitted your 1-page problem statement. This is the orientation webinar. And then by the 30th, we will also need you to notify, wait a minute. Let me go back. We have to notify WEF that we will have teams that will participate, but you won't know who's going to participate until the competition on May 15th. So what will happen is on April 30th, we will notify WEF that we are going to have teams. And then on May 5th, you'll submit your written report to CWEA. And then on the day of the virtual competition on May 15th, you will actually find out if you will be able to attend. We will announce the winners the day of the competition. And then on May 28th, you will submit your entry form, and the rest of the schedule is really based on the WEF competition. The virtual competition will actually occur on the 20th, and that will be, you will have to do a PowerPoint presentation for the virtual as well. And then you'll have some time between September 20th, the day of the virtual competition, and October 1st to finesse your final PowerPoint presentation for your in-person competition at WEFTEC. And then October 17th is the in-person WEFTEC student design competition in Chicago. So there was, let's see. I just want to answer, there's a question here about the number of team members we will send to WEFTEC. Oh, that's sorry, that's for me. I don't know. I think we limit it to the number of people that will be able to present. So it will be the 4 team members who will present, and then at times an advisor or someone who is supporting the team. So it'll be 5 team members will be sent to Chicago to attend WEFTEC. I think that's a fair question for anybody. Next. Let's see.
Hello, can you guys see me okay? I'm hoping. My name is Eric Costello. I was a San Diego State student, and I was lucky enough to participate in CWEA and the WEFTEC competition the last 2 years, which was pretty awesome. Just as a student, it was definitely one of the coolest things that I got to do as far as kind of like real world engineering projects, and really kind of getting like deep into some kind of fun problems. So last year, our project that we decided to go with was we wanted to address some of the seasonal flooding that happens in National City. So what happens down there is there's seasonal flooding, and there's also seasonal heavy rainfall. So the city floods, and there's all the economic kind of disruption and everything that goes with that. So we wanted to find a way to solve that. We actually worked with the city of National City a little bit, and with my employer at the time, DMAX Engineering. And that's how we came across this project, because it was something that the city had already been looking at solving for a while. So what we did is we conducted an in-depth alternative analysis, right, for several mitigation measures. So we evaluated all these things. We created like a HEC-RAS model, and we kind of made like a baseline model in HEC-RAS to see what was happening with the flooding and make sure that what we were seeing in the model looked like what they were seeing in real life. And then we created a bunch of different alternatives, and we ran those in the model, and basically picked a criteria and measured that criteria to see which alternatives were doing the best job at mitigating the flooding. And then we kind of did like an economic analysis to figure out which model would be the most affordable and which one was going to save the city the most money, and tried to take everything into account. This was, as I think Megan or Debbie said, or sorry, Jim or Debbie said earlier, this was our our capstone project as well as being our WEF project, which was really nice. We weren't able to do that the year before, but last year we were able to do it for both capstone and for WEF, which was nice. It kind of gave us a little bit more feedback and gave us a little bit better of a like a framework to work within for the project. And that is actually from when we went to the Chicago WEF competition in 2019, because obviously last year there was no in-person competition. I believe the entire thing, both CWEA and WEF Tech, were held online or like totally virtual, which worked out well enough. I think it sounds like they're going to do it differently this year and actually send you guys to WEF Tech, which will be super cool. That was a great experience for all of us. Everybody else on my team in 2019 were graduating seniors. So when they went to WEF Tech, they were totally graduated and free. And they got to meet all the judges and they got to meet all the professionals there and be part of the career fair and all that. And it was really beneficial for them kind of as, you know, starting out engineers. And that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I'm going to ask William Cassidy to speak after I go through these facts, because he's been a mentor and really has I think, a really important perspective about the project. So I'd like him to spend just a few minutes speaking. But just as a reminder, just a couple of things. First, CWEA, that is to say the state of California, like, we care very much about having our team represented at this competition. It is no small thing to say that there are bragging rights when you have a team that's in the competition, and you will have the support of the people both here in the state and just in general. The student design body is really supportive of having you guys there. So it's no small thing for you to be a part of this competition and to go to Chicago. And we are really, we're behind you guys 100%, looking to give you guys the best experience and have you come out with some really good contacts and connections from this. So again, we're looking to sponsor 2 teams. It's not necessary for you to attend the in-person competition. You can just participate in the virtual competition, which is a standalone competition. But if you do intend to go to Chicago, you must participate in the virtual. We know, of course, in this instance that none of the teams are doing, the same problem. Again, 4 team members will be permitted to present. And then there's no limit on the number of team members in your design group. William, do you have any additional insight that might be helpful for the teams?
Yes. Let me introduce myself. I'm William Cassidy. I currently work for the Orange County Sanitation District in their collection systems, but I've served in multiple aspects of design, construction, even source control here at the district. And my involvement has largely been as serving as an advisor for teams at University of California, Irvine, where my agency has supplied projects for their senior projects. The ones I were involved were wastewater and pump stations. The challenge is, if you're not familiar with the engineering of your senior project or your project here, you're going to have to learn the material and subject matter. Things everybody looks for is how much did you learn? How inventive? What's unusual? Did you come up with new recommendations? Something a little bit out of the ordinary, or a different way to approach the problem and the solutions that you come up with. And a lot has to do with your justification, your recommendation. Most senior projects have been basically a preliminary design report where you do your preliminary design, look at various alternatives, more than just one solution, and then justify your solution. So it can be challenging if it's new area. We're looking for you to be inventive, come up with your own solutions and alternatives, and make a final recommendation like a preliminary design report. Main purpose is to find the problem, look at all the alternatives, and then make a recommendation and be able to support that recommendation. If you can do that and make a very good presentation, you would do well. It takes effort and practice. I strongly recommend once you get your report done, once you get your PowerPoint done, practice. Speaking in front of a group takes practice to be effective and do well at it. So it makes stress. Don't wait to the last minute. Practice as a team, I would recommend, and get all your parts straight on who's going to do what. And I wish you good luck.
Thank you. Just before we start the Q&A, I would just like to introduce the only other person on the panel who has not spoken, and that's Brian Peck. And you will see Brian Peck during your presentation. He will be representing the judges. So that's a good name to remember. Okay, on to questions about the competition.
Okay, so I'm going to unmute the attendees. So you are allowed to unmute yourself as well and go ahead and ask some questions.
I guess I'll just start it off. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sweet. Thank you so much for putting this on. This was very informative and gave me and my team a better perspective of what's expected from us. And I just wanted to ask in terms of how many people can attend for the virtual conference. I know you mentioned that 4 may present, but for the Q&A, is it only the 4 presenting able to respond, or could we have extra team members there to help with that?
So 2 answers. Our virtual competition in California will be live, and you can have as many attendees as you like. It appears, and Jim, you can confirm this for me, it appears for the virtual competition, you will record your presentation and send it. There will be no opportunity for Q&A, and then you will get the response back. So I believe if you're for the virtuals in either case, you shouldn't be constricted by the size of your team. But remember, if you plan on, say, having 6 people in your presentation for the virtual, you're going to have to sort of reshuffle that because you're only going to have 4 people for the presentation in person. So you can take that for however you like it. I would like to think that if you're going to do it in person, you'd like to practice that in your virtual, but you're not limited to doing that.
So for the virtual, it will be pre-recorded, and then after it is played, there will be a Q&A session.
So for the virtual in WEF, it will be pre-recorded.
Oh, okay.
Here, it'll be live in California.
Okay, for sure. Thank you.
It's live in California. So because it's live in California, certainly you want to have the rest of your team there to answer questions. And frankly, honestly, you really could have them participate, but it does seem like it's a good run through. So it's certainly your option.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I had a question. My name is Alejandro. When we submit our intent to participate on April 30th, how quickly will we see like a turnaround to then submit our report?
Say that again. After,
When
how quickly will you see?
will we see like a response like congratulations, you're in, or here's the link to submit your report? Just
I don't know that there will be a response. I usually confirm receipt. I call WEF. Did you get them? And I think the next thing that happens is you start your submittal process.
okay. So just it'll almost be
I don't know, Jim, am I wrong in that?
Well, I wasn't sure if the question related to the CWEA competition or the WEFTech competition.
Oh, I'm sorry, the WEF. The WEF.
Oh, the WEF competition, yeah, then I think Debbie's response is correct. But the committee does a pretty good job of reaching out to those participants that will participate in the WEFTech presentations. So I think you will get some kind of response from them after Debbie submits the information from California.
Okay, thank you.
One good thing, I'll just keep talking. One good thing about the California competition is when you finish, you will actually be able to ask the judges for input about your presentation. And you can take that information and it may be helpful in you preparing for the WEF competition.
Sorry, I had to step away. Emergency call.
Are there any other questions? You know what, you can reach out to us anytime. If something comes up or someone in your team asks another question, please feel free to contact us. We are absolutely available anytime and really happy to support you in any way.
Yes. Could I ask one more question?
You may ask more than one.
Thank you. Is this like the first time that CWEA has hosted a competition virtually?
It's the second time.
The second time. Okay, for sure. Just because it's very like organized and typically I haven't seen them like so well fashioned. So it was really cool just knowing how things like lead up and I'm not left wondering what's happening.
Thank you so much for that.
That's good to hear. Thanks.
We have really great support, both as staff at CWEA and then really great committed volunteers. Like each of the people who's spoken, I'll include myself, is really committed to having this happen and to be successful. And we absolutely want California to win. So there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, will this PowerPoint be available to us for future reference? Or no?
Yes. I will post this onto our YouTube webpage and I
Okay.
can send you the link once it's done.
Yes, that sounds awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time. Again, we're here to support you. We're really looking forward to this presentation. And we really do want it to be a challenge for you as well. So again, reach out to any of us, really, if you have any questions. And we look forward to hearing from you. Let's see, what's the next deadline? May 5th. Submit your written report. So have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
joining
too.
us.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day,
Bye.
everybody.